Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
The President of the European Commission says the EU is in crisis, but not at risk as a result of Brexit. In his State of the Union speech, Jean-Claude Juncker warned of the dangers of what he called galloping populism in Europe and condemned attacks on migrants in the UK in the wake of the vote to leave the EU. Here's our Europe editor, Katja Adler.
Is this the man who can save the EU? His annual State of the Union speech is designed to be visionary, full of goals and ideals. But this year, the main EU aim is survival.
All too often we see splits and disagreements instead of European Union, leaving the door open for galloping populism.
Mr. Juncker said the EU was, to a degree, in an existential crisis. The EU is crawling with crises. Think migration, Eurozone wobbles and cross-border terror. The UK's vote to leave is probably the biggest body blow yet. But Brexit was given little mention today by Mr. Juncker. His intended message: we'll be fine without you. The European Parliament's Brexit negotiator put this point even more forcefully.
Stop the politics of division and seize this opportunity not to kill Europe, as some of you want, but to reinvent Europe. Thank you.
But when the EU and UK do thrash out their new relationship, Mr. Juncker insisted European principles weren't up for negotiation.
Es wird keinen Binnenmarkt à la carte geben können.
The UK would not get good access to the European single market, he said, if it imposed entry limits on EU workers.
No deal and trading on
Cue
WTO
Nigel
rules.
Farage. The two men are famous here for their testy relationship.
If you stick to the dogma of saying that for tariff-free access, to reciprocal tariff-free access with the single market, we must maintain the free movement of people, then you will inevitably drive us towards no deal.
Jean-Claude Juncker's State of the Union speech today was supposed to mark new, invigorated EU beginnings following Britain's vote to leave. But instead, it highlighted the EU's biggest headaches. No start date and a lack of clarity surrounding Brexit on the one hand, and on the other, a real fear here inside the EU Parliament that the voters out there across Europe no longer trust or believe in the EU. But perhaps that's also part of a bigger process.
The problem is the loss of trust of citizens, ordinary citizens.
And how do you save that? How do you change it?
Ordinary citizens working hard and playing by the rules don't feel respected. Not only by the European Union. Look worldwide. This is a worldwide phenomenon. Look to the election campaign in the United States.
Brussels bureaucrats, bankers, politicians from traditional political parties, growing numbers of voters distrust what they see as a self-serving elite. The EU needs reform to appear more relevant, but there's little agreement in these corridors as to how. Katja Adler, BBC News at the European Parliament in Strasbourg.